Hello, hello, and welcome. I am Joan Turner of Joan's Art Gallery, and you can get a hold of me on Facebook. I am also the resident artist at the Drake Council on Aging, and those awesome people there have asked me to do some cool tutorials for you. So this week we're going to do the much anticipated paint pour. Okay, and and yours is going to come out different. They all come out different, but I wanted to show you some of my favorite ones. Okay, this is one, and this is like gold and red hues. All right, you can, and this is actually on a piece of wood. Okay, this is a piece of wood. You can pour on anything. This is a small canvas, and I like to sometimes embellish them with old Victorian keys or old pieces of jewelry. So what I'm getting at here is you can be extremely creative. This is one of my favorites because of the colors, and I actually sprinkled little uh, dazzly things in there, little you can never have enough bling. And I also put in this little dragon guy right here. So my point is, hey, you can do anything. You can pour anything. My brother is a drummer, so I poured on drumsticks for him. And I don't have those to show you, but I did pour on a goose egg. Okay, isn't that cool? Goose eggs. Um, like I said, pour on absolutely anything. Now these goose eggs have been cleaned out, certainly. Okay, the goose egg, and when you're storing them, you're going to store them very carefully, like in bubble wrap and all that good stuff. Okay, so you can do that, and also anyone can do this, right? This is a big 16 by 20 piece done by my 7-year-old niece. Is that not cool? Okay. This, believe it or not, is a popsicle stick. She's like, can I put a popsicle? Because we were using popsicle sticks to mix the paint. And she liked all the paint that was on the stick. And she's like, can I put that on there? I said, you are the creator, my dear. You may do whatever you like. So she has a really unique piece here, which is kind of cool. So let's move this stuff aside. Today we're going to pour on a canvas. Okay? And again, I know that a lot of you have art kits from Drake Council on Aging. So you can pour on a stretched canvas. A stretched canvas is canvas that's been stretched around wood and stapled to the back. You can pour on a canvas board, which is canvas glued onto a board. Okay, and you can see that they're different thicknesses. And any of you who have been watching this ongoing series probably knows the difference by now, but in case you don't, all right? So today we're going to do a paint pour, and I'm going to tell you what you need for supplies, right? So first of all, one of the supplies you need is something to pour on. All right. I've also poured on rocks, and so if you have other things that you want to pour on too, absolutely feel free to experiment. You'll have a blast. Okay. Obviously, you need your paint. Um, paint whatever colors you like, but those of you who have the paint kits have primary colors like red and blue and yellow, and I believe that you have black and white. Okay. So get all those paints out, and we're going to mix some of those and get them just to the right consistency. Do yourself a huge favor and cover your work area. Yeah. Even though this is the art table, okay, I'm covering it with plastic because paint pouring is as messy as it is glorious. Okay, so you're going to want to cover and make sure you're wearing old art clothes, all that good stuff, right? So the other thing that you're going to need, of course, again, is your paint, and you should have at least your basic colors. And so those are red, yellow, and blue. Those are primary colors. So I'm going to put them here on the table. We're going to use glue as a medium. Okay, now you can use kids glue, not paste, glue. You could use Mod Podge if you have that. Um, I do have Mod Podge and glue. So I'm actually going to use my Mod Podge as a mixing medium, right? You're also going to need water. So let me see what I have here for water. Size container of water here. And I'm actually going to mix it into the paint because to do a good paint pour, consistency is kind of key, right? So you're going to need, we're going to do a technique called a dirty flip cup. Okay, just because of the name, I just absolutely love the name, a dirty flip cup. We want to flip the cup. So these are little shot glasses from the dollar store. Okay, you could use Dixie cups, bathroom cups, anything at all. But we want to use, we have yellow, white, blue, we have black, we have white paint. So you're gonna need probably at least 5 of these little cups, 5 little Dixie cups, or anything else that you want to use that you can throw away after or discard, all right? You're not gonna be able to use them for anything else. We're using acrylic paints. Okay, so I have acrylic paints. Here's my little cups I'm putting here. And I'm also going to have I want, I want quite a bit of white because I'm going to cover the canvas with white first, but we're not going to paint it with a brush. We're going to pour it. Okay, this is a paint pour, and that white paint is going to be loose enough that when we flip our dirty cup onto it, okay, it's going to just kind of go all over the place, that's what makes it so cool. So have your hot cocoa ready and let's go. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, so if you want to cover your hands, cover your hands. Let me see, might have some gloves nearby. And the reason for doing that, I mean, it will wash off your hands, but it definitely gets under your fingernails, gets in your jewelry, all that good stuff. So if you have gloves, grab them. You're also going to want to have some sticks to mix, okay? You want to have something you can mix these paints with to stir them up. Okay, so these are little craft sticks, but you can also use coffee stirrers, straws, anything, toothpicks. Okay, toothpicks might take you a while, but you can use anything to stir. Again, something that you're not going to want to reuse unless it's to do another paint pour. Okay, and if you do reuse it for a paint pour, segregate a color for each one. I have been known to do that. And then I went out and bought a ton of craft sticks. Before I would use just the red for the red, the blue for the blue. Um, so you could do that too. So we need our canvas. Okay. So if you're working on a canvas, you will, whether you're working on a canvas or a canvas board, you'll want to have it raised off of the table or surface where you're working. So let me put these little glovey things on here. And again, these are not necessary. The paint is not, it's not going to hurt you at all. If you have rings on, I would say take them off. The paint tends to get everywhere. It's messy. It's an extremely messy medium, but well worth the mess. Wait till you see what we end up with here. So I'm going to put these gloves on just to kind of protect my nails and my jewelry. And I'm going to now face the camera down on the table so you can see what I am doing. All right, so let's move stuff out of the way here and see if we can get a great picture of the canvas. Ta-da! Canvas. Recording is not my forte, but we've done enough of them that I'm starting to get the hang of it a little bit. So again, I'm using a stretched canvas, but whether you use a stretched canvas board, and like I said, if you have some rocks and stuff nearby, and I'd show you some rocks, except mine are all outside, like around the plants, at least the poured painting ones are. Okay, but you're going to want to have them up off the table, because what's going to happen is the paint is actually going to drip off of these. So, you can put these little cups underneath there. So see how it's not sitting right on the table here? So if I were to pour on that, it would just pour off of here, which again is another reason to keep the table covered. And I've also got the floor covered because I make a big mess, a big huge mess. Okay, so here we go. All right, the other thing that you can do if you're using a stretched canvas is you can take these little push pins, and this is a new container of push pin, but you can actually push these push pins in the back. Okay, the canvas is actually, the wood here is relatively soft, so you could push these push pins right into the wood, and that would stand it off the table as well. Right? If it's nice outside and you want to do this outside, you could do it outside. But even outside, I'd still, I think, cover my surfaces. And it makes cleanup a heck of a lot easier as well, because this covering is just a dollar store tablecloth, plastic tablecloth. So afterwards, if you wanted to do easy cleanup, you could just pick up the whole tablecloth and throw everything out. So let's do this. Let's push these babies in. Okay. All right. So now I have almost like a little tabletop. See my tabletop push pins. So now I'm sitting off the table here, and whatever paint I pour on here is going to pour off and onto my tablecloth. Okay. Again, Dixie cups, little short. These are little shot glasses from the dollar store. Anything that you want to use that you're not going to want to reuse. Okay, so get your hot cocoa. Let's go. Paper towels. Always have paper towels nearby. I put my hot cocoa over here. I got my hot cocoa. Okay, first thing I want to do is background. So we're going to get our white paint. All right, and besides our small shot glasses, I have this kind of cup. Right, it's a little bit bigger. I think this is a 9 ounce or something like that. And I'm going to fill it about a third of the way with some white paint, which is probably more than what I need, but I'm going to have more rather than less. Now, this dispenser, all of the paint is stuck in the straw. So I have to pour it in. Okay, so I'm pouring, like I said, maybe it's a third or a fourth. Okay, so that's what I have in this cup. All right, so again, I'm already starting to get messy, which seems to be my normal state. So I'm going to close up my white. This does dry out really, really easy. And I'm going to take and add the same ratio of water. Okay, so again, the consistency of the paint is extremely, extremely important. Okay, now this might be a little too loose in there. Yeah, this looks more like milk. So I think I pour some out. Pour some out of here. Let's do that. Okay. All right, so now stirring here. Okay, and now I'm getting a little bit better drip here. I'm going to take some of my Mod Podge, okay, and And you can use, again, you can use any kind of glue. And this is probably like an ounce, an ounce or so, okay, a little shot glass. And I'm pouring that in my white paint mixture. And I'm actually using the glue now as a medium, right? So now I have paint and a matching amount of water and about an ounce of glue. Can you see this? This is kind of the consistency that we want. Okay, and I'm going to actually clean this out of here and get as much out as I can. All right, so now what I have here, okay, is this is the consistency. We want the paint relatively loose. We definitely want it to run. Okay, so I am going to just put this aside now because eventually I want to pour it on here and it'll stay relatively wet for a pretty long while, certainly. But we want it to be nice and wet when we pour on top of it. So I now want to create a dirty cup. All right, now what is meant by a dirty cup is we're going to begin to layer colors, and your cup doesn't need to be this big here. It actually should be this big. This canvas board is an 8 by 10. You can use whatever you have left in your kit, including the 14 by 18 or 16 by 20. Make sure you have enough paint to cover it all. Okay, so in this I'm going to have extra paint, so I might, at that point you could cover a rock or an egg or drumsticks or whatever your heart desires at that point. So or you could do two. You could do two canvases. Okay, so I have two out here, although this one's covered. All right. So now I want to start with my colors. So I'm going to take my blue, shake it up, baby, really good. And I'm going to put it in one of my little shot cups. Okay. And again, what I'm looking for here is about, I have a relatively small canvas. If you're using a larger one, go halfway, but here, I'm just going to go maybe about a quarter of the way up, quarter of the way up. Di capa. All right. Then I'm going to take, actually, it would be nice to maybe put some weight in it. As you go along, all these ideas are going to occur to you, but for now, let's just do the basics. Okay, so I have some blue in this cup. All right, I want some red in this one. And this looks like a brand new red. Yay. Let's see if it's open. And it is not. It is brand new. Okay, let me see if I can get it off with my gloves on. Okay, yay. All right, same thing with the red. I'm gonna go about a quarter of the way. If you're using a 16 by 20, you might want to go a little bit more. Okay, so now I have red and blue. So again, these are just primary colors here, which all of you should have, whether you're using art packs from the Drake Council on Aging or you have your own set at home. Absolutely, you will have the primary colors. Okay, this is yellow. Okay, let's see if this yellow is open because this bottle looks new too. God love me, I must have bought a whole bunch of new paint. All right. Let's get rid of this, this, and same thing. Oh, this has some good stuff going on in it. All right, let me clear away some of this. Right. So, I'm going to put the same amount in here. Okay. cover our paints nice and nice. Okay. All right. So now, again, what I want to do is get some Mod Podge or whatever kind of glue you are using, and I want to match. I want to match the amount that I'm putting in there. Okay. And the only reason I'm using another cup to dispense it is I don't want to compromise the integrity of Mod Podge. So once it leaves the container here, even if I have leftover Mod Podge, I don't put it back into the container. Okay, we don't want it to get compromised or have little flakes of paint in it. Okay, so I have that. Now, the other thing I was thinking I would like to do is we have the white. Let's do some black. Now, black, or if you have brown, you could use brown, certainly. But think contrast. We have these nice bright primary colors going on here, and it would be really awesome to have a nice primary color. Yeah. And the black is definitely not new because we're at the end of our tube here. But and the black is a pretty strong color. Okay, so if I have a little bit less, that'd be okay. I'm going to there. Okay, so I want to put the Mod Podge in this black as well. So I'm mixing that in there. Okay, so let's kind of put this in here. This is my grain off stuff here. I had a little bit too much, so I put the extra in here. Okay, let's do this. So now, I'm going to try and stay on my covered side here. So what we want to do now is to mix these, okay? Now, you want a different stick, straw, whatever you're using for each different color. And I have only 4 colors for this particular piece. Now, you can have a lot more colors. You can add a lot more colors to your composition if you want to. But bear in mind that they're going to overlap and mix with each other. So if some of the red hits some of the yellow, you're going to see some orange. Okay, so this is something that you don't need a lot of color. It's more important that you have some nice contrasting things going on here. Okay. So mixing this and looking at the consistency of it. Let's do this little guy. This is the blue. Okay, so I'm mixing him really good. There aren't any bubbles in here. So see how loose that is, and the red felt loose enough to me as well. As a matter of fact, the red could use a little bit more pigment or paint. Okay, so I'm going to take the red because I feel like I made it too loose and add a little bit more red paint, okay, to this particular cup. Okay. So again, a little bit more red paint in here. All right, and that looks better to me. Okay. Now, the black paint. The black paint's another story. See how it just is not flowing at all? Okay. So I'm thinking that we need to make it looser. So I have some of this white in here. Let's put a little bit in there. See what happens. Okay, ended up with a nice dark charcoal gray here. All right, still a little bit, on the chunky side. It's not flowing as good as I want it to. So I'm going to add a teensy bit of water to it. And I'm going to put the water in here first, just so I can control it. I don't want to put a whole bunch of water in and then have it be too loose. Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting better here. So I'm going to put another drop in. Consistency is key. And be patient with yourself, especially if it's like the first time that you're doing this. Okay. Now, some of your kits have some sparkles included in them because some of them are actually, in addition to being art kits, they're kind of craft kits. Okay. So this one's really loose. Add a little bit more blue to it. Now, what you could do, which would be maybe be nice, is maybe add a drop of the black to it, and then I would get this really kind of, this is a nice blue. Oh, I like that. Okay, liking it. Right. So let us have our hot cocoa. Good. And now I'm going to put the cap back on here. Mod Podge or glue, whatever it is you're using. You don't want it to dry out. Or Mod Podge in particular, when you leave the cap off and the air gets at it, gets chunky. It's chunky monkey. Okay. So now we have our surface. Okay, and again, it's not sitting right on the table. I'm going to take the very first white that we mixed here, and I want to pour it like in the middle here. Okay, can you see what I'm doing here? Now, I want to pick up the canvas. You see where it's going here? And I want to start to move this white around the canvas. Now, it's important that we cover the canvas. That looks like a chunk. I'm going to pull it right out of there. Right? So, see what's happening here? We're getting a nice coating. Right? And you definitely want it to go off the sides. So, if you take your stick, okay, and just do this, you can actually get it to do that. All right. You can use your fingers, certainly. All right, so we want this white to cover the entire canvas because the paint, it's going to flow everywhere. Now, from me rubbing it, it has all this texture on there that I absolutely don't want. So I'm going to put some more white on top of that. And that's why we mixed so much, because you always want to make sure you have what you need. Okay, so look at that. I have a nice coating of white there. Okay, now we can start our dirty flip cup. Okay, so I'm going to take a paper towel here and dry my hands a little bit. And what I want to do is have another cup. So this one might be kind of big. I'm going to get a smaller cup. Yeah. And it is paint on the floor. Let me grab it. Oh, yeah, I have more paint on the floor. God love me. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go and grab another plastic cup, one that's a little bit smaller. Okay, I'm my 9 ounce cup right here. Okay, so let's put that there for a second. And